Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Lewis Hatchett, and this is the final episode of 2020. We're going to be looking at some reflections on what this past year has taught us and also how to set your goals moving forward into 2021. So let's not hesitate and just get straight into this episode. So we finally made it. We're at the final show of 2020. We're coming towards the end of the year. And as much as there has been so much negativity throughout this entire year, I think it's just worthwhile looking at what has been achieved and how far we as people, as a civilization, and also us as individuals have come over this past year. What we've fought through, what we've learned, and where we are compared to where we potentially saw ourselves a year ago. If I put myself in my shoes of this time last year, I was thinking of this new decade that we were ringing in and how excited I was going to be and how much there was to look forward to. And obviously there was no way that we could have foreseen what this past year with coronavirus, COVID-19 has thrown at us, and the complete 180 and tumble dryer that has been this year of emotions, and the plans that have been scuppered and the way in which we've gone about it, and just everything. This whole year has been a complete change up to a curveball in what we probably put forward in our 2019 plans and our New Year's resolutions for 2020. So I want to just say a few things that I've learned, some things I've learned not only just from listening to guests on this show, but some reflections of how I've seen the year unfold and what I've learned from the trials and tribulations that have been 2020. So I'm still here in Adelaide, Australia. I was actually due to go back about 6 months ago. I was due to go back in March, April time, and my whole life changed in the sense of the plan of what I'd set out to do and my business and everything that I wanted to achieve over the past 6 months. It has been a completely different setup. And there's so many people to thank for helping me out. My friends that I'm living with and that are looking after me, Matt and Jess, have been incredible. And then also the players and the coaches and the managers, the administration of the club that I've been playing at here in Adelaide, Southern Districts. They've been phenomenal in looking after me, and I've enjoyed the work that I've been doing, working with young players out here. And also that has allowed me to have time to build my app and I've released Sport Yogi. So even now, as I'm talking through it, there have been some changes and some trials, but there's so much to be thankful for. There's so much that has managed to come about in this changing landscape that I've gone through. And I have no doubt that that's the same for all of you. I think if you look back at what you have gone through and probably the initial feeling of dread or the anxiety that was going to be in your world and uncertainty, and that might even still be there, but ultimately looking at where you are now, you're still here, you're still pushing through, you're still getting through it. And that's something to be incredibly proud of. So before we even kick it off, I think just looking at, yes, it's been a tough year, but be incredibly proud of how you've gone about it and that you've still moved forward. And I think one of the biggest lessons that 2020 has taught me is that how adversity is this key for adapting. And we have all adapted. Like life as we know it, we have had to adapt to this new world that we're living in. And not so much here in Australia. We've probably dealt with the virus a lot differently compared to other places in the world. But the fact that we have all had to adapt and face this adversity in our lives. And I think we all do have that capability, whatever it is, whether you're an athlete, whether you're just the everyday person working in an office, or just a mum or a dad, or whatever adversity we end up facing, we should be proud of what 2020 has taught us, that we can take more than probably what we thought we could. We're able to be more resilient than we perhaps thought we could. And we're able to adapt and change our lives way more than we thought we could. I'd always question, like, what if 2020 hadn't happened? Would some of the changes in the the things you've learned about yourself happened if this adversity hadn't faced you. So you almost want to be thankful for that adversity and that change that we've had to make, because it has definitely taught us. And yes, we do want life back to some sort of normality, but I don't think we can forget what we have faced and what we have gone through and how much stronger it's made us. There's also the value in slowing down. I think I've recognized that slowing down is okay. I used to think that life needed to be 100 miles an hour and everything had to happen now. And I think it has taught us that slowing down is a good thing. Everything doesn't have to happen right now how you want it. I know even when I launched the app, I wanted everything to be sort of at a certain stage when we've launched, and really enjoying that process of things becoming better and learning and testing and finding out and everything developing. I just look at whether it's where my social media was like 6 months ago, 9 months ago, and where it is now. It's a completely different spot. What I've learned, what I'm doing, and how I've changed, and the ideas that I've come up with, and how everything has adapted. And that's just embracing that whole idea of slowing down, let that process unfold. As long as you're still looking to improve and look to get better, then that's great. It just doesn't have to happen at a certain rate. It doesn't have to happen right now. It can go at a certain pace, and at a much slower pace than what you think it can, because if you just step back and look, there will be that progression, there will be that upward curve. Yes, there's going to be dips along the way, but that's fine, that's okay. The part of all of that, and a part of building this upward curve, I think the stronghold for myself and others that I've spoken to has definitely been routine. Sticking to that routine, finding your routine. Your routine will definitely be different than what you perhaps thought it was going to be in the first place, but now keeping that routine, keeping that steady consistency in what you do is just vital for not only living a healthy life, but having that consistent performance. So whether it's changing up your training, and you've had to change your training, and still finding that routine in whatever way you've changed things up, and whatever workouts you're doing, or the way you interact with people, and just having those constant touch points, those things that you can always rely on, that's vital for keeping that consistency and healthy habit that you can create. So have a look at the routines that you've made, and I'm sure they have been a big part of what you do, and they can also change. You don't be afraid to change your routines. Don't be afraid to not change the routine completely, but change what you do within that routine. And that has come a part of this whole idea of adapting and changing what we do in 2020. For workouts, for example, no athlete that I've spoken to thought they would be doing majority of, say, their Olympic training in their living room. So that has just shown how adaptable you can be, but still keeping that general routine and structure of your training program. So definitely look at your routine. I'm sure it's been vital for you. There's also, I think the last couple of things I would look at is I have learned that what I perhaps perceived as valuable in my life weren't necessarily the things that were valuable. And really that links into the loss of human connection that we've had in this whole pandemic, and the value, whether you're an athlete, whether you're an amateur professional, there is no doubt, whether you're playing an individual sport or you play a team sport, there's no doubt that having that interaction, that human connection, is a vital part of keeping your mental health, your mental strength up, because we crave it. It is something we, on a deep hereditary level, that we need and we crave as a human being. So the value of having that interaction as a human being is so important. And I think we're blessed with technology. We're blessed with the fact that here in Australia, I'm able to keep up with everyone back home in the UK. So technology has allowed me to shorten that gap, but I still crave that in-person interaction. I haven't seen my family for around 15 months, and I haven't seen my girlfriend coming on a year now. So that is something that I just really value way more than I thought I did, and just craving that human interaction, and making sure that if you can't get it with the certain people that you want to or you need, then looking for it elsewhere, finding that interaction where it is, or understanding, being on your own and learning to be with yourself a little bit better. I for sure have learned how to be with myself much better, and delve deeper into my meditation practice, my mindfulness practice, and I've learned a lot more about myself as who I thought I was, compared to actually what I can deal with, what I can manage with. And just look into what you're doing and see if there are some key lessons, some things you perhaps didn't know about yourself, or you perhaps thought about yourself, and you've now learned from this whole experience. So that has been the year 2020. So what can we look forward to for 2021? For sure am looking forward to 2021. I'm excited the fact that in my own personal life, I've got Sport Yogi app that's come out. We're building that brand, we're building the community. Really excited for where that possibly could go in the future. I'm excited for bringing you more podcasts and guests and more insights in the world of sport and helping you develop yourself. I'm even looking at potentially bringing out an athlete mindset course of taking my own personal story, my own personal journey, and delivering what I've learned from the guests I've been speaking to and how you can improve your mindset if you want to take that path to being a professional athlete. So there's so much to look forward to, but I think as much as you can create your SMART goals, which are you're specific, you're measurable, you're achievable, you're realistic and time measured goals, there you can do that. Like we can do that every year, and we can set those New Year's resolutions and the things that we want to achieve, the what's that we want to achieve. I'd like to try and put something forward in a new way in which you can go into the new year, and that is to focus on who you're going to be this year. So yes, the what you want to achieve is still going to be there, but I think if anything, 2020 has taught us that can change very, very quickly. So what you want to achieve may have to be put on hold or adapted or moved in a different direction. And the thing that will definitely stay solid and continuous is who you are. So who do you want to be as a person? Because that then sinks into a deeper level and something that will sit with you for much, much longer. So it could be looking at your values, understanding what your values are as a human being, and just your day-to-day interaction, looking maybe a bit more internally, so learning a little bit more about yourself, and then you can put together a plan as to who you want to be. So having that little introspective work and simply writing down, who do I want to be in 2021? And you could write a description of a person and almost do it in the third person and say, well, this is Lewis. In my example, this is Lewis, and this is how he wants to be. And that could be your sort of paragraph or few sentences. It hasn't got to be long, but just describing who that person is and how they deal with challenges, successes, and the ups and downs of life, and where their direction is, what their routine looks like, what a day-to-day life looks like for them, and aim for that. You're not necessarily going to hit it all the time because we're not perfect, but as long as you have that goal and that intention to try and get to that as much as you can, then it's something that will be far more concrete in your, not only your 2021, but moving forward. And it's just a great chance to look at setting those goals, setting those intentions and those affirmations that perhaps you want to set, so that if you hit these adversities and these trials that feel tough, because again, we don't know what's going to happen in 2021, that you have this to fall back on, and you can understand who you are, these concrete values of who you are as a person. So give that a go. That could be something that you take forward into 2021. I'm for sure I'm going to be doing it, and I think that's just a different way of setting your goals for the new year, rather than, yes, you can set the what's, you can set the actual measurable things that you want to do, but who do you want to be? What sort of person do you want to be moving forward into this new year? So look, guys, that's all I'm going to give you for this episode. I have loved this year, the people that I've spoke to. Thank you to every guest that has come onto the podcast. Thank you to all of the listeners that are listening to this podcast. I cannot wait to bring you more moving on into the new year. I may take a little bit of a break, but I'm looking forward to bringing you some more episodes coming up. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all of you that are supporting it, supporting Sport Yogi, supporting what I'm doing, and improving yourself as an athlete, as a person. We're not only just building better athletes, we're building better human beings from doing this podcast, which is something that I'm really, really thankful for. So if you've taken something from this last year, maybe an episode that you've enjoyed the most, maybe a little nugget of information that has changed how you've done things in the past year, and maybe something you're taking into the new year, let me know. You can find me on Instagram at Lewis Hatchett. You can find me at lewishatchett.com/podcast for this show. You can also find Sport Yogi on at Sport Yogi on Instagram, and then there's sportyogi.com where you can download the app as well. But please get in touch with me. I love hearing from you, and yeah, let me know what you have enjoyed this year from the podcast, and also what you perhaps are looking forward to, or what you would like to see moving forward into 2021. So thanks again, and I can't wait to see you guys soon.